What's going on YouTube? Josh here from The Creative Wade, and today we are taking a look at the RME Babyface Pro FS versus the Apollo Twin X USB variety. But before we get too far into the video, I want to go ahead and give a quick shout out to zZounds.com for sending me both of these interfaces for review. If you guys have never checked out zZounds before, they have a simple no background, no credit check finance option for most of the items on their website. I highly recommend checking them out by clicking the affiliate links down below. Doesn't cost you anything and it helps the channel out a great deal. So without further delay, let's go ahead and hop into the pros and cons list. If you guys have seen my videos before, you know that I always have to have a pros and cons list. So the first pro goes to the RME for having a dual headphone out. It has both 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch, and that's not just in case you forget your 1/4 inch adapter on your headphones. The 1/8 inch is for low impedance and the 1/4 inch is for high impedance headphones. In all honesty, I hooked my Neumann NDH30 open back headphones to them, and I didn't have any issues with it pushing them, and they're kind of power hungry headphones. I had no issues with the 1/8 inch or the 1/4 inch jack. Now, hopping over to the Apollo for one of my favorite pros, I love the controls on the front of the Apollo. Now, the RME, you can set up custom controls through the mixer software, but the Apollo, I'm just so used to it. There's no need to set up any customizations or anything like that. All the buttons are right there in front of you, and they're really easy to get, so that's a big pro in my book. Now, switching back over to the RME, a pro on it would be the portability factor. The RME is just USB powered. The Apollo, as you might know, you need to have a power supply with it. So if you're looking for portability, the RME kind of wins in that category. Hopping back over to the Apollo for a pro would be the mixer software. Comparing the mixer software to the RME and the Apollo is honestly night and day. I will give it credit for having a lot of features, which the RME, it has a lot of features in the software, the mix software, but man, is it hard to use. It does come with a manual, like an actual paper manual, and there are some videos online of other people making mix tutorials and stuff like that on how to use the mix software. I highly recommend you check them out, but I would have to give the pro on this one to Universal Audio's mixer because it's kind of a no frills, makes sense, and it just works mix view. Again, having said that, the RME does have a lot more features if you're willing to take the time to learn how to use it. I could see it being beneficial to somebody who's looking for more advanced routing and stuff like that. I would give the RME mixing software the edge, but when it comes to ease of use, the Apollo definitely takes the cake on that one. Pro on the Apollo, I mean, it's kind of a pro, not really a pro. I call it a pro because I actually do use the DSP a lot. I like having the onboard DSP to get that near zero latency so I can direct monitor my mix. I call it a pro for me. Kind of just depends on what you want to do with it. Now, the RME does have DSP on it, but it's not the same exactly as the Apollo. The DSP that is on the RME is just to run the EQ and I believe compression plugins that you get with the interface without any latency, and it does help with round trip latency even if you're not using plugins. So it's a little bit different than the Apollo, but it does have a little bit of DSP on it. All right guys, here comes the bad part. It can't be all rainbows and sunshine, right? First con of the RME, the XLR speaker outs on it do not have little push clips. From what I read on forums, they claim the reason they do this is in case if you're taking this thing on the road and you happen to have it plugged in, somebody walks past, kicks it by accident, it doesn't rip the interface off of your workstation or wherever you're working on it. I mean, okay, I get it, but if you're using metal XLRs to put into this thing, don't even breathe on it too hard because they will come unplugged. At the very least, if you bump it a little bit, it will make a noise on the XLR and you will hear it on your mains. I really wish they would have put the little clip on it for the XLR. So that's going to go into the con category for myself. Well, now that I have a con on the RME, I can't feel like I'm picking on RME. Here's a con for the Apollo. If you notice at the beginning of the video, I said this is the USB variety. I had to get the USB version because my computer does not have Thunderbolt on it, and I needed to get the USB version just to make sure it would work properly with my workstation, and I didn't want to buy a Thunderbolt card to put into it to have to deal with all of that. This is a big con con because it just seems like Universal Audio doesn't care about Windows users at all. This only works with Windows. The reason that's not too big of a drawback for me is because when I'm on the road, I don't really want to carry an interface with me, so I don't mind that this has a power supply and is plugged into the wall. It still is an issue. It should work flawlessly from Windows to Mac, and it just doesn't. That's one of my cons of the Universal Audio that a lot of us have had to deal with over the years, and it hasn't changed since the Silverface Apollo USB that I've also owned 2 of. It was the same even back then, and it still hasn't changed much for us Windows users, unfortunately. Okay, so now that that is out of the way, here is a big pro for both of the audio interfaces, right? They sound amazing. If you're looking for awesome sound, you really cannot go wrong with the RME or the Apollo. Now, here is where my difference of opinion comes in for either one. Who do I think that the RME would be best suited for? If you are someone who is on the road, you don't care about DSP processing, and you need Windows and Mac compatibility, I think the RME is hands down your best option. If you're looking to stream or do any type of OBS screen cap, you might want to veer more towards the RME. Now, who do I think that the Apollo is for? If you are somebody who is primarily on a Windows machine that is stationary, a tower, get the Apollo. If you're not looking to stream, if you don't really care about OBS or screen capping, if you're just using it for a recording studio interface, the Apollo is going to be just fine for you. If you're someone like me who does screen capping and things like that, I have a few workarounds that I have kind of figured out over the years to get the Apollo to work right. In all honesty, if you're rocking both Mac and PC, obviously this isn't going to be the best option for you because this is just Windows only. And for those of you wondering, no, this will not work on a Mac. It's USB 3, yes, but it will not work on a Mac. If you plug this into your Mac, your computer won't even recognize it as anything. If you guys have any questions about the USB, the Apollo USB, and you would like me to make a separate video on some tutorials on how to use it, leave in the comment down below that that's something you would like to see. I have no problem with making a video on my little quirks and my little workarounds for it. So the ultimate question, which one am I going to be using throughout 2024? And if I didn't give it away by talking up the Apollo, even with its quirks and its issues, I'm going with the Apollo. I'm going with the Apollo. I have plugins invested into Universal Audio. I really am just so used to the workflow, so maybe I can't really give you an unbiased opinion. Now, having said that, again, I really like the RME. The sound quality was amazing. I love the fact that it's USB 2.0. You plugged it in. It's got drivers for both Mac and PC. For my situation, I'm not moving all this stuff. I don't need a mobile setup. So if you're looking to be mobile, check out the RME. But for me, in my work case, I'm going to be sticking with the Apollo going into 2024. Hopefully this video helped those of you out there looking at the RME and the Apollo and you're debating on which one to get. I really hope that I didn't add more questions than I did answers for you. And if you have any questions about anything, leave them in the comments down below. I try to read every comment and answer every comment. And remember, guys, it's called music theory, not music fact. Have a good one.